I have a speaker here, Jeanette Corbin.
Yep.
Corbin. And she's with a cell phone server. She's not promoting, or we are not promoting any cell phone companies or whatever, but she is going to give us a one-on-one on how to actually utilize our phones, how to save money on the phones, and all the little tricks and stuff that we don't know about that we're not doing with our phones, right?
Correct.
So with that, Jeanette, this is everybody.
Hi, everybody. So I've got a lot of stuff that I can talk to you today about. Some of it you'll know, some of it will be fairly new. The first thing that I want to cover is that cell phone carriers, Sprint, Verizon, AT&T, all of them, none of them are in the business of cell phones. I know that that's kind of crazy. We're all in the business of cell phone service. The cell phones are manufactured by Apple, who, they have a big day tomorrow, Samsung, HTC, Motorola, all of those companies. They're all in the business of cell phones. So when you're paying your cell phone bill, you're paying for the equipment and the service. One of the things that you can do to make sure that you're not paying too much is make sure that your service matches what you're using. And to do that, I always recommend to my customers, stop in every 3 or 4 months, get a check done, get an evaluation, and all these cell phone carriers will do that. I've got some friends that work at Verizon and AT&T, and they all do rate plan analyses all the time. Not to mention right now in the market, with the way that Sprint and T-Mobile and Verizon, they're all kind of battling it out. There's new plans and promotions coming up every 3 to 4 months. So it's good to make sure that you're taking advantage of the best rate that you can get. Additionally, every company offers discounts based on all sorts of different things, not just your employment. AAA members can save money. People with a Target Red Card can save money. There's discounts available for more than just employers. So if you're not getting a discount and they don't offer one for your workplace, make sure you're asking if they offer it for any other things that you might be a part of.
Mary Kay does
Costco.
too.
What's that?
If you're part of Mary Kay.
Mary Kay, Sam's Club members, all of that. Going back to the fact that cell phones they're kind of being separated with all the other carriers, with every carrier on the cell phone bills. We've heard of the leasing and the renting of cell phones and things of that nature. With every carrier, you have to lease or make an installment on at least one phone to be on that qualifying rate plan. After that, think of cell phone stores as like car dealerships. You're gonna go there, you're gonna get the latest and greatest brand new device for top dollar. Just like if you were gonna go to a car dealership, you're gonna pay the maximum amount of money for a vehicle. Versus Craigslist, if you get a car on Craigslist or something, you're gonna pay obviously a lot less for a used vehicle, just like a cell phone. You're gonna pay a lot less for a used cell phone than you're going to for a used car. The question is how do you know that that cell phone is good, right? You hear about people getting scammed all the time. You hear about cell phones, the ESN is locked or it's broken and you didn't know. Same thing with a car. Take somebody that knows with you. If you have trouble finding somebody to go with you that knows about cell phones, have the person meet you at the cell phone carrier that you're going to be using. So for instance, if you're going to be buying a Verizon iPhone, say meet me at the Verizon store. They'll check that ESN for you, they'll check out that phone and make sure that you're not getting a phone that's been lost or stolen. So that you can have that, and then you're only paying for the service, you're not paying for the handset as well. Which is a big part of the bills these days, it's at least half of the bill is the equipment. However, if you want to have the latest and greatest, obviously there's going to be deals all the time. Make sure that you ask, is there going to be a buy one get one offer on this phone? Is there a way that this phone is cheaper? Can I reduce that monthly payment? And a lot of times there's ways that just may not be brought up because they are, just trying to help you get your phone and handle it the best way possible. There are a lot of apps that can help you save money. A big one around here is mPerks. If anybody doesn't use mPerks, I highly recommend it. There's a lot of different ways that you can save on M-Perks. At least there's the coupons that you can clip, and then you just enter in your information, and it brings them all off of your account. The other thing that happens is every time you go to Meijer, if you spend a certain amount of money on baby food or diapers, or those just happen to come to mind right now because I have a 4-month-old, on shoes, on any specific brand, then you're gonna get a coupon to save money the next time you go there. So a lot of times my husband will go to Meijer for his lunch food, and he'll punch in the account and, oh, you have $9 in savings that you can save today. And he's like, you're so great. So he's an accountant. He really likes me to try to save money anywhere possible, so it's really good that he knows how to use the M-Perks. And then another good one is Ibotta. Ibotta will give you money back based on what you've already bought. You have 7 days to scan in a receipt and scan in your information, and they're gonna actually send you either a check or a gift card for Amazon. There was a few others that I saw in there too, but I bought quite a few Christmas presents last year because there was an Ibotta coupon. If you bought a certain bottle of wine, you would get $3 or $4 back, for instance. So I got those for some of my friends for Christmas presents, and then I made enough money to buy my kids a whole bunch of really cool stuff on Amazon. So that was a really great way to kind of save a little bit of money there. Yes?
Do you have to pay for those, or are those
Nope.
free apps? I mean,
Nope.
that's free.
Yep. M-Perks and
Yeah,
Ibotta
first I
are
know,
both
but
free.
the Ibotta one, we hadn't heard about that.
Ibotta is fantastic, and I have it on my phone. Another way you can make money with Ibotta is referrals. Every person that you refer and makes their first purchase is $5. So what I did, working at a cell phone store, I went to Walmart very early in the morning. I would get one item and bring it out, so I had that coupon. Then I could demonstrate it to people, like, this is how you use it. So that was kind of a cheater way, but it got people to use Ibotta quite a bit, so that was really great. If you have questions, I have no problem showing you one-on-one at any point. Use Ibotta. The other thing about cell phones is they're supposed to make our lives easier. But sometimes it's very frustrating because you don't know how to use a certain app, or a message is coming up on your phone that you don't know what it means, and it's preventing you from doing what you need to do.
It's a smart dumb phone.
Yeah. So,
Or you lose the signal.
yeah, losing signal, that does happen a lot. One of the things I want to talk about is what plagues you guys? What is stopping you from being a little bit more productive? What things have you seen other people do that you're not really sure how to do, or want some information? Or what kind of issues are you having with your phones that I can help with, that you can be more productive in your day, because time is money?
I have a
Yes.
question.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 12-year-old, and
Mhm.
because he goes to school in a different town, than I'm working. We're thinking about getting him a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
How, or what things can I do to make sure he's safety protected?
As far as not being able to access things that he doesn't need to access.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just how you can put different safeguards in.
There are a
for
lot of
kids.
different safeguards. There are, smartphones have locks where parents can go in and they can say, okay, you can only talk to this number, you can answer calls and make calls to these numbers. You can text this number and receive text from this number. And a lot of websites and apps can be blocked based on age. I have a 10-year-old, almost, and he has an iPad, and he can only get apps for children rated 10 and younger. And that's a setting that's easy to do in the phones. You would need a passcode once you set it up for him. You'll set up a passcode so that only you can change those things. So if you change your number, it's not permanent. You can go in there and change it.
Okay.
There's also different apps that you can use to GPS locate the handset. So you can use it to, like, you can even set up timers on them where at 4 o'clock I want to ping his phone and make sure he got home okay. So you don't have to remember to log in to check every day because we all get really busy. But it's, your phone can text you and say, don't worry, little Seth is at home and he's fine. That is absolutely something that anybody, I will help you with when you get him the phone. one-on-one, even if it, doesn't have to be this brand,
Mhm.
but one-on-one, I have no problem helping you with that.
Okay. Cause I
And
just wanna
setting
make
up
sure he's
the-
safe, and like, I really, at this point in time, I don't allow him on Facebook or any of those ones like that, just because too many dangers.
Yeah, there's
And
too many people that are
I
strangers.
tried to let him do one that kids do, and then we had some issues with other kids, and so it's like.
And the bullying aspect and all of that,
Yeah, it wasn't
absolutely.
even, it wasn't even bullying, it's like him and friends were talking to someone, and then somebody else said, oh, the boys said him something, and then tried to get everybody in trouble, and so it's like, no,
Yep,
we're not going there. I just had a feeling
Absolutely.
it was a bad idea, but,
Kinda like he said, she said, thing.
mm-hmm,
but it's like,
Mhm.
no, I knew it was not a good thing, so.
yeah, it can be a
we're
really
just gonna
bad,
Stay away from
really
that stuff.
bad thing, and, like with my son, he can only FaceTime family, he can only FaceTime me and his father, his step-parents, my parents, a handful of people, so not even his friends at school, they have to call on my phone or his dad's phone, and we're monitoring that. We're
Right.
standing right next to him while he's on the phone, so that we know that nothing inappropriate is going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a watch that you can buy, I talked about it at our emergency planning education a year or so ago.
Mm-hmm,
Yep,
And that
I
watch,
had the
you
information
can,
about it.
yeah, he can actually make a phone call to you on the watch.
Mhm.
You can hit a button so you can hear
Oh, I
everything that's
forgot
going
that,
on
he
in
could
that
call me
room.
with that.
mm-hmm,
And you can do a locator on that, so you'll know exactly where he is. So
Yep.
if he's not at home, you can find out
Maybe
where he is,
then
where
you
your
can track
find
him.
me app is, so.
I'd read about those on a blog,
Yeah,
they're really
And they're not
cool.
that expensive.
They're not.
And it's just a monthly fee, I think it's $10.
Yeah, those are a really good solution
That
as
might
well.
even be a better solution than a phone.
Yeah, cause he's not gonna lose it either, if he's wearing it, nobody's gonna take it,
Mhm.
it's gonna be less apt to be lost or stolen.
And
There's
not
a lot
only
more
that, but it's
benefits
something
to
bad
having a
going
phone
on in
besides
your
just
budget.
social media too, though. Because Kaden has had a phone for several years,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
and
3,
at least probably.
yeah,
And it is nice, they can access little videos when we're in a car, he's gotta wait for something, and we can limit his YouTube and stuff like that.
yeah, you can,
Kaden doesn't do any social media, he has his phone with him. We started with an iPod that had Wi-Fi, because he was either at the academy or at the gym, so he could get on Guest Network, wherever he was at, and so until he went a year not losing it,
Mm-hmm.
cause those he can text, because I have an iPhone, he can text me through,
Mhm.
Wi-Fi, Guest Network,
through
or he can
iMessage.
FaceTime me, through Wi-Fi, so that's what we chose with him, so, till he went a year without losing it or any damage or anything like that, then we got him a phone, and we just got
Yeah.
a really cheap plan, I mean, his doesn't cost me hardly anything, and it's worth it the times that, is practice done, I'm not there yet, all his phone numbers are stored, so there's, and he doesn't do social media at all, so there's lots of benefits to having it besides,
Right.
letting him have social media stuff.
Right, absolutely.
So now through the watch, was there options that if they could message someone if they needed to message someone, or is
Yeah,
it?
They could message or call.
Yeah, they can message or call through the watch, and then if there's a problem, they hit the button and the parent can actually turn on.
Yeah, you can monitor,
So
I
she
remember
can hear
that.
everything that's going on, so if he's being bullied, he can send a signal, she'll open it up,
Okay,
and she
like
can
that.
hear everything going on in that
Mhm.
room where that child is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an alert system type thing, isn't it?
Yeah, kinda.
Some cell phones do have that built in now too, to where if you press a certain button, like the power button 3 times consecutively, what it's gonna do is it's going to send a text message to someone saying, I'm in trouble, help. It's gonna send a pinpoint on a map to that person, like where you're at. And it's going to take a picture of the front and the rear camera and send that to them, and also like a 10-second audio clip. So if they can hear and get all that information if need be, in case anything were to happen. And I have my dad set up instead of my husband, because he always answers his phone. And I've used it this is where the soccer game is, Dad. Not for the intended purpose, but it's nice to be able to know that it does work every time when I need it to. Good to practice. What other questions we have about cell phones keeping you from being as productive, or maybe like do you have problems with email or being able to attach files, things of that nature, anything?
Like when we're at the campground and I would like to see my Facebook, sometimes it doesn't show up. Is there a way that I can make it show up on my
Are you talking about the campground, just off of
Coldwater.
Coldwater Lake? Oh, up north?
Yeah.
That's fine.
West of town?
Sometimes turning the phone off and on again will help. That completely depends on a couple of factors. One factor is the signal strength of your carrier. I know that not every carrier has service absolutely everywhere, including my own. And sometimes there's just not a possibility, sometimes there's not internet where you'd like there to be. Another factor in carrier issues is amount of people. You guys may notice that when Central has a football game, regardless of the carrier, or a concert, regardless of who you have that cell phone, it's gonna be limited because there's so many people pulling on the towers that it's kind of like a traffic jam for the information and phone calls to get through. It's a frustrating part of it, but it's difficult and I speak for not only this place, but all the other carriers that are in town here, because again, I do have friends that are like the assistant manager at the other stores and stuff too. So again, if you have questions not related to these guys, totally fine, I can get you the answers. Like I said, I've got friends that are managers at the other stores here too. The towers, there's settings and we can't change them from like, once we do a change, it takes 72 hours to take effect and then, so it's hard to, obviously these events are planned, but the company just won't listen to us when we say, hey, we need more capacity on these days. It's just a really frustrating, really frustrating thing that we deal with here.
If I wanted to change, companies and use my same phone, is that possible?
The cell phone unlocking law came into effect on February of 2016. So any phone manufactured after that has to be able to be unlocked and used on any other carrier. It may not work as well as it did on the original carrier it was manufactured for the simple fact that there's a chipset in every single phone that allows the phone to talk to those towers. It's the chipset and then the antenna, and it's specifically geared for that company. They can be used on the other companies, it just may not work as well, because it's not originally for that company. But
Before February?
if it was manufactured and released before February of 2016, it's a maybe. Anytime after that, yes.
Well, wouldn't that be roaming at that point?
Not really. Not really. It's gonna act like it's roaming, so it'll be kind of like the same kind of service you have when you're roaming. So it might be a little bit slower, you might miss a phone call or a text message, but all of the carriers tend to have deals. If you turn in your phone, they can give you a deal on a brand new phone. Kind of like a car, if you trade in your car. You might trade in, I should know more about cars. You might trade in a Ford for a Toyota, for instance, and the Toyota's gonna run better for what you need, and you'll get a deal for trading in that Ford, instead of just having nothing. Yes?
Are there any, ways to, if you travel internationally, I know you can get a plan or whatever, but are there any other ways you can help yourself, save money while you're traveling internationally and be able to use your cell phone? Besides wait till you get to the hotel and use their Wi-Fi?
Yes,
you know?
yeah, and that can be really frustrating, like if you're only using FaceTime or iMessage when you're
Right.
traveling internationally. Every carrier does have an international plan. I don't know the prices on all of them, and it will give you a reduced rate for using that cell phone in those countries. The question isn't, is it gonna be cheaper? The question is there gonna be coverage? And a lot of times, there may not be coverage. So another way to save money is if you're gonna be there for, more than a week, a lot of the countries will have like burner phones. You just insert a chip from their company and you can use that phone there temporarily. And there's not gonna be any extra charges because it's a prepaid service. A lot of times when I have students that are traveling to countries where Sprint doesn't have signal, I recommend that when they get there, they go to a shop and they get a flip phone and a little SD, like not an SD card, a SIM card, and they use that while they're
So
overseas.
it's not like you could use your own phone and then put a different SD card or something like that?
That will only work if your phone is fully paid off and not under lease. So if you're at the end of your contract,
Installments on your phone, then you
right, yeah, then they won't let that be used internationally until that's fully paid for. That's a good reason to keep an old phone. Like if you're going to be going to Germany, for instance, I know that we don't have towers there, but if you use a German SIM card, that will work there. Dr. Pohl actually travels quite a bit, and he goes and uses the SIM cards, and then when he comes back, he gets a new SIM card from us, and he's right as rain again with his, he's got a 5S, I think, that he uses, and that works really well for him, doing that.
That's a good idea.
Yes?
I think that might depend on the carrier. My daughter went to Belize and we had a phone that was a brand new phone.
Mm-hmm,
And so we were still paying on the phone.
right,
And we just purchased the international plan. They put the international SIM card, S card, whatever they call
yep,
that.
SIM card,
Yep, they put that in and then, we ended up keeping it on for 2 months and that way if any charges, we weren't gonna get roaming fees, but if it roamed while we were over there, if we would have had it just for 1 month and then would have picked up the billing on the next month, we would have gotten charged those charges, so.
okay.
I think
Yeah,
it's
it may
gonna
be
depend on
carrier
different
specific. I
carriers,
know
'cause,
that-
Yeah,
yeah.
and she had great service all the way, she drove, her and her dad drove from Michigan all the way through the United States, through Mexico and into Belize and then back up, so.
It's a good trip.
Yeah, it was a good trip.
And she was good the whole way.
And it was well worth the money to just go in and you just buy this plan for, I
Mhm.
bought it for 2 months and they popped the card in and we were good to go.
Mm-hmm. All of the cell phones that we have come with a SIM card to be used internationally. It's just it's not activated until you call in and have it activated. And that's when the $4.99 plan comes into effect and using it globally and things of that nature. Yes?
What do you know about cancer and cell phones?
Not a lot. I haven't done a lot of research on that. To be completely honest, I can get more information for you if you'd like.
Well, I had somebody tell me that if I had my cell phone in my bra, that I could have cancer in my breast.
I have heard that. I
I've
don't
heard
know
that.
of any tests that have been done regarding that. Like I said, I'd heard it on Facebook on one of those things, but I haven't ever seen any studies or anything actually conclusive.
It's true.
Yes.
www.drmccullough.com. He's got a bunch of information
Okay.
on cell phones.
Yeah, and even you can go down to Herbs, et cetera, and they have, these little cases that you can put over your phone so that you're not getting too many electromagnetic, to protect you from that field, the radiation and things from your phones and. Yeah.
That's absolutely one of the things that I would think that would be very popular as well,
Yeah.
is a cell phone case that prevented something of that
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah.
And that's the first I've heard of one, so that's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah, and I think Dr. McCullough has them on there too, so there's quite a bit of information that you can Google on through reputable resources about that, but yeah, to keep it away from you as much
What
as
was that
you can.
website, Daisy?
www.Macaulay, spell it, MERCOLA.com.
Yeah, .com.
I'm gonna look into
I
that.
was told by a friend that even if you're 2 feet away from your cell phone, that you can get radiation from it.
Dang, I'm gonna die.
Not super familiar with all the health, the negative health effects as far as cell phones, except for they're saying that a lot of people are developing bad necks from looking down at their cell phones all the time. So that's something that I'm personally trying
If you're walking
to,
like this all the time,
yeah, I'm trying to
That's what they're
stop
saying.
myself.
Yeah, a lot of chiropractors and doctors are seeing a
Yeah.
lot of, strain on your neck and shoulders because of people always like in this
Mhm.
position and,
I like this.
yeah. And the person with the key, because they always have it on their ear and
At least
shoulder.
they're not getting run over,
They said that back in the day when they had landlines and were walking around like this.
Yeah, and computers and carpal tunnel and everything.
You can also buy
Computer chairs and
These things.
these.
these blocks, this blocks electrodes from, entering your
Yes.
body system too. It's got all kinds of different wires in there, and it just zaps everything that comes your way.
Yeah,
Dolly, what is that?
I'm Daisy.
Daisy.
Or Daisy?
And it's just called a electrode adapter.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that?
Herbs, et cetera.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, what about insurance on cell phone?
Good question. A lot of cell phone bills, with 5 lines, for instance, insurance can run $55 a month. And a lot of times people come in and they have a broken phone, I'm like, I'm really sorry. This is one of those ones that has a deductible. And it's a very difficult conversation because you're feeling kind of like, what did I pay $55 a month for insurance for all of these months when I still have a deductible? The reason for that is, again, the cell phone carriers are not in the business of cell phones. That phone, for instance, the iPhone 6S, manufacturers sell to the carriers for $649.99. When that phone is damaged and it cannot be reused, it needs to be kind of melted down, we can't just give out another phone because that's a $650 hit on the company. That insurance is $11 a month and it covers 2 different types of insurances. The first one is if it's broken, damaged, lost, stolen, liquid damage, something like that. One of those situations isn't caused by the manufacturer. So there's a deductible involved, and the deductible is $200 on most cell phones these days. But that's because the cell phones are costing $650 to the carriers. Then the manufacturers don't feel that if somebody breaks their screen that they're responsible.
Right.
The other thing that it covers, though, is anything that happens to your phone that isn't your fault. If the charging port stops working, the speaker stops working, the screen has a burned out pixel, you can't get it to connect to the internet, any of those things are replaceable at no cost to you. And that's because that's considered a manufacturing defect. If you don't have insurance through the company that you have, AT&T, Verizon, a lot of times they can't really help you if you need a replacement phone. And that's because we didn't manufacture the handsets, so we don't have any handsets to give out. We're just in charge of the service. We're just in charge of the gas that makes the car run. If the tire's bad, we can't help. And that's why there's that $11 so that we can afford for technicians, we can afford for parts, we can afford to pay for maybe a third-party store that fixes them instead of the actual corporate store, which is not great, not my choice, but that's whatever. That just kind of bypasses you having to get a hold of Apple or HTC or Samsung or Motorola. You can go straight to the carrier and get it fixed instead of spending weeks dealing with the actual manufacturer. Yes?
You mentioned Samsung.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the phones are exploding.
There's been reports of the Note 7 exploding. They're doing a national exchange program on those phones right now. Currently, every carrier, you can take your Note 7 back, exchange it for any other phone in the store, and there's no restocking fee, we'll credit the difference, any of things of that nature. Samsung is also offering $25 to everybody for the convenience. It's not a lot, but that's something that Samsung is doing right now, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be some lawsuits involved.
Probably.
A lot of people are-
Yeah, I would imagine that there will be.
Yeah.
They are urging everyone to turn off their Note 7s. It's not the first time that a battery has exploded. At the store, we have to have, when we have a loose battery, a battery that's not in a phone, we have to put a kind of like a label over the contact ports. Otherwise, they can cause fires without even being in a phone. So it's not the first time. It's just that it's happening a little bit more than it should be. So they've issued that massive recall and said, hey, bring those back into stores and get a different phone. Yeah. Yes.
What about the, cause I know when I got my new phone, I was gonna be moving here, but since I'm in the thumb a lot, a couple of the different stores over there told me to buy, like there's certain letters, like the, what is it, DSM or M something, or?
There's 2 different kinds of, there's serial numbers. There's the IMEI and the MSID. And they're basically the same, just one, there's a certain code, decimal code, that one of them is. They're the same, except just written differently. Kind of like binary, if
Cause
you're familiar.
they said if I bought a phone here, like it would work better here, but if I wanna talk to family in the thumb, to buy a phone in that area, because it would work better here and there.
The
There
thumb,
was those certain letters that came,
I'm not sure about
they showed me on a
that.
map, cause they explained it to me.
I'm not 100% sure about that instance.
The guy shows, kinda shows the whole United States where this phone will work in this area, this
The,
phone will work in this area.
But there's certain letters
This
that
phone will
you,
work in this area.
yeah, they were showing us certain letters, cause I know they showed it to me here, and
mhm.
in Lapeer, and in Carroll, they're different, cause when I was looking to get something different, that they told me I wanted this kind of a phone,
Mhm.
cause if I bought one from here, it would work good here, but not necessarily out in the phone.
I haven't heard anything like that, especially being tied to the ESN number, the serial number, so that's very
It wasn't
interesting.
the serial number, it was a certain kind of phone, I can't remember what it was. I
Okay,
had the map, but you wanted these certain kind of letters with it,
maybe CDMA versus GSM,
maybe, yep,
okay.
I think that's what it was.
There's different kind of technologies in the different carriers that the towers are based on. CDMA works for Verizon, Sprint, Virgin Mobile, and some Boost mobile phones. GSM works with AT&T, some of the Cricket phones, some Boost mobile phones, and what used to be Nextel, but there's no more Nextel, so those are gone. And T-Mobile. T-Mobile works on GSM as well. And they're not the same. They're definitely not the same. One's a toaster oven and one's a microwave. They're both gonna get your food hot, but in a different way. So they just work a different way. And that dates back to like the early 1990s when cell phone technology was being invented. And there's just been a split ever since. And GSM, I think, is what works in the thumb. I know there's not a lot of carriers that work there, except for like AT&T and T-Mobile. Some T-Mobile.
Straight Talk. and
Straight Talk does both as well.
Track phone works everywhere
Yep,
out there.
Yep, TrackPhone and Straight Talk both do CDMA and GSM. They both do the same.
And
They're
like,
the two different
Anna,
ones.
you were asking, with Straight Talk, you can take any phone in there, and my son-in-law has taken so many different, because he's switching all the time,
Mhm,
and they always work. He
mhm.
takes it in, does the Straight Talk, you pay that thing to transfer your phone, and.
The flashing,
Yeah, he does
you
that
can
thing,
flash
and
phones
you
to
can-
Straight Talk to
You
use.
can take any phone in.
Mhm.
I like it because it's $45 a month for everything.
Yep,
Or you can do
Yep.
the bigger plan now, it's $55 a month for unlimited everything.
the prepaids do offer a lot of benefits as far as cost savings,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and their phones aren't expensive, like I think I paid $79 for this phone.
Mhm, mhm.
Since you brought that up, I mean, what's the benefits of having a contract? Because really, I mean, I haven't had a contract in like 5 years,
Mhm.
and I do not miss it.
Yeah, there's absolutely not really any contracts anymore. I'm gonna go circle all the way back to the beginning when I said cell phone carriers are not in the business of cell phones, we're in the business of service. The only reason there was ever contracts is that phones were $400, $500, $600, they have been this whole time, but we'd give them away for free with a 2-year contract, or $50 with a 2-year contract. We had to make sure that we were gonna make up that $500 or $600 that we discounted that handset. And that's why rate plans went up and up and up and up and up, and now they're coming back down.
Well, I
Because-
just got a solicitation like about 2 months ago, and trying to get me on another contract.
Maybe not a contract, but maybe a lease or an installment billing. Not everybody can walk into a store and drop $650 for a phone, so we offer the financing on the handsets.
Right, well, they called me, and I thought that was against the law anyways, for solicitation.
There are dialers, I know, that
It was
every
actually the phone company, it was, I believe it was Sprint.
every company, well, I can speak for Sprint, we have to dial 8 before we dial out, and that checks against the do not call registry. And a lot of times they'll say they're part of the DNC, and we don't get through. But if we dial 8 and it goes through,
I got
then.
no clue, because it came across my Bluetooth on the car, so I don't
Okay.
know what it came into.
Every 2 years, you have to re-register with the do not call registry.
How do you
To
do
get-
that?
You can go to donotcall.gov, and there's a phone number too, and I can grab that for you really quick.
I know, I used to be on it, and then it expired, and now, oh my gosh.
Yep,
Cost
yep.
coming
It's
in.
a nightmare.
And then a lot of them, you wait, and you're waiting for the number to push to be put on the do not call list for that specific company, and they're gone. You can't get a hold of them.
They won't say anything.
But I mean, like, a lot of times, they won't take no for an answer. When you tell them, no, I don't need it, don't want a contract, they just keep going. Well, why not? Why wouldn't you want a contract?
And I wish they wouldn't use the word contract, because that's completely there's no, we don't do contracts anymore, so I'm not really sure why they were offering a contract.
Really, it's
Whoever
like a
spoke.
payment plan for the phone, isn't it?
Right, yeah,
Well,
so
'cause they
this,
wanted me to get this new phone that did this and did that, blah, blah, blah. They're only gonna cost me $100.
yeah,
You know, if I kept in with the 2 years on their contract, then the phone would be paid for.
It's like a
after-
budget
Right.
payment for your phone.
it's a payment on the phone, and once that
Right.
payment's done, your bill gets cheaper.
Right.
That's how it works with all the,
But my point is why would I wanna do something like that when I only spend $35 for Boost Mobile? I can
Well-
go get a new phone every couple of years
Mhm.
for $70.
some of the reasons that people prefer to have a carrier, a postpaid carrier versus a prepaid carrier, is that they have somebody like me in the store that they can come and talk to and ask questions. And they have a place that can help service them and go to pay their bills and things of that nature. Whereas with prepaid, there's not really a lot of customer service, you're kind of on your own.
I guess I've never even used customer service, so I don't even understand.
That's, yeah, and like I said, that's one of the benefits of postpaid versus prepaid. And,
Because, I mean,
there's
with prepaid-
benefits for both, there's pros and cons for both
Prepaid, you can go
sides.
anywhere. You don't gotta worry about orders.
Right, no, I understand completely, there's benefits to both. Yes,
I have my father a flip phone, but he's 89 and I just
Uh-huh.
wanted to have a phone. And we have a contract with that through Verizon for 2 years.
as of last Christmas, they don't do contracts for new lines anymore. You squeaked right in right under the radar.
We bought the phone and we're under contract.
Thank you.
You paid,
Should I call them and ask them if we really are?
absolutely, absolutely. I just had a situation, I came back from maternity leave, and the first customer I talked to said that he had activated his old Galaxy S4, and that he was trying to cancel it, but they were trying to charge an early termination fee. That early termination fee is only for people that haven't paid off the rest of their phone.
Yeah. this
So
one's like-
I was able to get that removed for him and cancel the line at no cost.
Okay.
Absolutely. If you own the device, there's no reason for it.
Right, because they said, I said, well, that's when my dad passed away, and they said, well, then we won't charge you for it, but it's under my name.
Yeah, if you paid full retail price for the handset, you should not be charged for it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, what's that number?
Yeah, I'm grabbing that right now.
Okay.
If you guys have to go back to work, I get it, it's really not 12:15, it's 12:53.
I'm
So
gonna
if you
give
have
you
to
guys
go,
some
feel free,
cards.
but if you wanna stay and ask questions, feel free. I will send out information on next month's workshop. It's gonna be a little different. Sally's here from planning, and she might be able to give a little better, it's gonna be regarding air quality, so.
Yeah, the tribe was awarded an opportunity to host an indoor air quality training. And so we're hosting it here next month, and it coincides with next month's
Workshop.
And so we're gonna have the attendance for the training plus the instructors, and we're gonna give a brief overview of some common indoor air quality concerns and have question and answer period.
So, yeah,
So it'll be a big group next month, but it
Yes.
should be pretty informative with
Yeah.
the especially winter months coming up.
Yeah, you'll wanna do that yearly.
so
Yeah.
feel free to
So
stay and
maybe
ask
do it on your birthday,
questions.
so remember every year.
Will you do
Gotta
me a
make that
favor?
phone call.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Standing Rock. Is there gonna be anything brought up on that?
At the indoor air quality?
I know I can't.
And also pick some people to go out.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I didn't understand. Why did you have a little